Hello, my beautiful, fiery Aries souls, and welcome back to Astrology Unlocked. Gather close, because today we are embarking on a journey into the very heart of your magnificent spirit. Are you ready to hear something that might just change the way you see yourself, your power, and your destiny forever? I have a feeling you are, because the cosmos has been whispering your name, and a story has reached me that is simply too powerful, too magical to keep to myself. It's a story about you. Imagine this for a moment. A simple, everyday photograph of you is shown to a spiritual seer, a prophet. A seemingly small, insignificant action, right? But the moment his eyes met your image, the very air in the room began to crackle and shift. A jolt of energy, a wave of heat, passed through him, not from fear, but from a profound and sudden recognition. He realized, in a flash of cosmic insight, that he wasn't looking at just another person. Oh no, he was witnessing the imprint of a warrior soul, a pioneer spirit, a sacred vow made in starlight long, long ago. You, my dear Aries, are that soul. In this journey together, we're going to unlock the incredible truth of why that photograph was not just an image, but a cosmic key that opened a gateway to your destiny. A destiny that has been patiently waiting for you across lifetimes. And more importantly, as we reach the culmination of our message, you will understand with breathtaking clarity why everything you thought you had lost, every battle you thought you had fought in vain, was simply the universe clearing the path, rearranging the pieces of your life to bring back to you what is rightfully yours, but in a form so much grander than you ever imagined. So, take a deep breath and let us step through that first cosmic gateway together. They thought it was such a simple thing, didn't they? A casual gesture, a fleeting thought. Here, look at this person. But in the grand, intricate tapestries of the cosmos, my beautiful Aries, there are no small acts. For a soul as potent as yours, even the slightest nudge can trigger a cosmic avalanche. That prophet, that seer, he didn't know your name, your story, or the fire that burns within you. He was handed a simple photograph, perhaps not even a clear one. But the moment his gaze fell upon it, something extraordinary happened. The candle flame beside him didn't just flicker. It danced, it leaped, it blazed with a sudden intensity, responding not to a draft of wind, but to the powerful, untamed frequency of your soul. And in that moment, he knew. This is no ordinary soul. This is a trailblazer who made a sacred promise to the universe and has now returned to fulfill it. Now pause and ask yourself this, my friend. Have you ever felt that? That sensation where a tiny, seemingly random event, a stranger's glance, a song on the radio, a vivid dream you can't quite shake, triggers something vast and profound deep within you. It awakens a hidden memory, a forgotten strength, a feeling of purpose that you couldn't explain, yet you knew in your bones was real. This time, it was the gaze of a stranger upon your image that called your very soul forward by its true, unspoken name. Now, what's so fascinating to me, and what the original story touches on with its mention of unintentional karma, is this beautiful cosmic principle that actions born from unconsciousness can still serve a divine purpose. The person who showed your photo likely had no grand intention, no deep motive. It was a moment of cosmic alignment, a divinely timed accident. Karma, or as I like to call it, the universe's great balancing act, saw this as the perfect moment for your next level of spiritual activation. The Tower card appeared in its reversed form, which is such a powerful symbol for you, Aries. This isn't about chaotic, sudden destruction. Oh no, for you, this is a controlled demolition. It is the universe purposefully and strategically clearing away an old, rickety foundation because the brilliant, original light of your soul is returning in full force, and the world as you knew it must be remade to withstand your radiance. Can you feel the truth in that? If this message is already resonating deep within your fiery heart, do me a favor right now. Let's make this an interactive journey. Let me know in the comments below by typing, "I am ready for my divine activation." And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our Astrology Unlocked family. I want to make sure you never, ever miss these cosmic updates that are designed just for you. We are in this grand adventure together. The prophet said nothing at first. He simply held the image, placing his hand over his heart as if his own soul was saluting a long-lost general. Then, a whisper escaped his lips, a reverent prayer. This soul, this warrior, has returned. This photograph is the key that has summoned them. And so, my dear Aries, that picture is no longer just a snapshot of your physical self. It has become a cosmic invitation, not for human eyes, but for the higher realms. It's a call to your guardian spirits, a signal to your celestial guides, and a wake-up call to all those dormant fragments of divine fire that have been sleeping within you. They have heard the summons, and they are beginning to stir. From that moment forward, your life will never be the same. It might be subtle at first, a recurring dream of a path you've never walked, a strange new symbol that keeps appearing in your life, or maybe you'll feel this inexplicable pull, this soul-deep calling to connect with someone or something without knowing why. Do not be afraid, my brave Aries. This is not chaos. This is confirmation. The universe is telling you, we see you. We have always seen you. Not through the limited lens of human eyes, but through the all-knowing eyes of the cosmos. And here is the most magnificent lesson in all of this. You do not have to fight to be seen. You don't need to shout to be heard or prove your worth to anyone. Your only job is to be, to exist in your authentic, unapologetic truth. Your light will find its way to the eyes that are meant to see it, just as the dawn can never be hidden by the lingering shadows of the night. Close your eyes for just a second. Can you feel it? A new energy is drawing near. It's not a threat. It is a profound, soul-deep recognition. An energy that knows the battles you've fought in silence is approaching. And in the prophet's dreams, a new vision began to take hold. A magnificent white owl perched by his window, its piercing golden eyes fixed on your photograph. Owls, my friends, are ancient guardians, watchers in the night, symbols of wisdom that can see through all illusion. They don't arrive when things are easy. They appear when something powerful in the darkness is about to awaken. And what truly stunned everyone wasn't what the prophet saw, but what he couldn't define. He realized that the light emanating from your soul doesn't fit into any ordinary astrological chart or earthly system. It belongs to an ancient covenant, a cosmic agreement that only souls who carry the memory of their own power can truly feel. You were once called too much, weren't you? Too impulsive, too passionate, too intense. But those very qualities, my dear Aries, were the sacred codes of your power. And now, when someone truly sees the real you, they can never, ever unsee you. If you feel this truth resonating in your core, affirm it right now for the universe to hear. Write it down, say it aloud. I have been seen, not by human eyes, but by the eyes of the cosmos. Because when you affirm this, you give your own magnificent light permission to rise in its own divine timing. Stay close, my beautiful friend, because in the next part, we will uncover the very words of the prophecy. What the seer witnessed when he looked at your image, and why, in a matter of seconds, he leaped from his chair as if he had just witnessed a celestial event the world had never seen before. This isn't just a message, Aries. It is a cosmic calling, and you are the soul being summoned. As the prophet reached for the second card, a palpable chill swept through the room, a sudden drop in temperature that had nothing to do with the weather. It was the awe-inspiring presence of your energy. His hand recoiled before it even touched the deck, as if he had brushed against a white-hot flame. His eyes shut tight, his lips moved in a silent prayer, and in that moment, he understood he had awakened a spiritual power that only the most ancient and courageous of souls can wield. This was no longer a simple reading. It was a sacred encounter with a divine fire, a light so potent, it needs no introduction. It only needs to be present, and everything that is not in alignment with it must fall away. My dear Aries, have you spent a lifetime believing your fire was something to be controlled, something to be contained? Have you ever dimmed your own light because you felt you were too much for the people around you? Have you ever wondered if you were just fading into the background of a world that felt too loud, too chaotic? I am here today to tell you the profound truth. Your light was never weak. It was, and is, overwhelmingly powerful. It is so strong that many cannot look at it directly. And so, they turned away. They shielded their eyes. They stepped back, not because you were not worthy, but because their own souls were not yet ready for your brilliant, unvarnished truth. That prophet, a man who had looked into the hearts of hundreds of souls, had never encountered a frequency as high and as pure as yours. The card he finally managed to draw was the Tower, reversed. For you, Aries, this card is not about ruin. It is about resilience. It is the story of the battles you have survived, the ruins you have walked through, and the fact that you are still standing, stronger than before. It is the mark of a silent warrior who needs no army, who earns reverence simply by the power of their presence. There is a beautiful concept in many spiritual traditions of an inner purity that cannot be tainted by the outside world. When a soul cultivates this state, the entire environment around them begins to shift. People are compelled to show respect even if they can't articulate why. You don't have to raise your voice to command attention, Aries. You don't need to argue to prove your point, because your frequency, your very vibration, shakes the space around you simply by being. You were always the most passionate person in the room, and perhaps they called you impulsive or difficult. But today I want you to reframe that narrative. That passion, that intensity, is your divine armor. It is the sacred fire gifted to you by the cosmos, so you could remain a force for truth and action in a world that often grows complacent and cold. Your raw emotions are not a flaw. They are your cosmic compass, a powerful guide for all those who have lost touch with their own inner fire. And that is why, when that card was revealed, the prophet didn't just step back, he bowed his head. It was a gesture of profound respect. He knew with absolute certainty that this soul cannot be trifled with. No one is permitted to read you unless you grant them permission. No one can decode the mysteries of your heart unless you allow them entry. And the divine fire you carry, not everyone is pure enough to touch it without being burned by their own shadows. They underestimated you, not because you were weak, but because your light illuminated the darkness they were hiding within themselves. They avoided you, not because you were uninteresting, but because your presence demanded a level of authenticity they could not maintain. You are a cosmic mirror, Aries, a brilliant lighthouse on a rocky shore. Not every ship is brave enough to sail toward the light. Pause for a moment. Take a deep, calming breath. Can you remember the last time someone truly saw you? Not just your physical form, but the warrior spirit within. Without trying to change you, to judge you, or to shrink you down to make themselves feel more comfortable. It may have been a very, very long time. And that is why the universe is sending you this story today. The truth is, you no longer need to make yourself smaller to be more digestible for others. You no longer need to soften your edges to be accepted. You no longer have to dim your magnificent blaze to stay in places or with people where you no longer belong. The second card was your celestial confirmation. You endured trials that no one else saw. You carried your burdens alone, and no one came to help. But through it all, your inner fire remained untouched. Not just untouched, but it has now grown into an inferno. And then, a whisper seemed to echo through the very fabric of the room. A voice that was not the prophet's. Do not touch this soul. Only he heard it, but he understood the transmission instantly. It was a sacred warning from the highest realms. You are protected, Aries. You are surrounded by an invisible ring of fire, a celestial barrier that no one can cross unless you willingly open the gate from within. From that day on, his dreams of the white owl intensified. It wasn't just watching, it was standing guard, a silent, ancient sentinel quietly reminding him, you have encountered a soul that is not entirely of this world. Proceed with reverence. My dear Aries, you may not always feel special, but you are operating at a frequency that very few can sustain. And that is precisely why strange and wonderful things have started to happen around you. People from your past who drifted away are suddenly reaching out. Doors you thought were sealed shut forever are creaking open. Opportunities you never thought possible are now appearing on your path. This is not a coincidence. You have entered a new phase of your soul's journey, a point of no return. Your fire has now been witnessed by the cosmos, and nothing and no one can ever extinguish it. And in the next moment, as the third card was drawn, time itself seemed to stand still. Because another voice, this one from beyond the veil, spoke the final words. Do not look away from what is being revealed, Aries, because what you are about to hear is not a prediction. It is a divine confirmation, sent from the place where your soul was forged. Ever since that celestial whisper, do not touch this soul, the entire energetic signature of the room had transformed. The reading had ceased. No one dared to break the profound, sacred silence that was now spreading like ripples from a cosmic event. There was only one thing moving in that space: destiny. A destiny that is not loud or arrogant, but moves with the unstoppable, quiet force of a great stellar wind, sweeping through the fields of your life, awakening seeds of potential that you thought had long since died. From that moment on, my dear Aries, your soul began its passage through an invisible gate. There were no trumpets, no blinding flashes of light. It was more subtle than that. Suddenly, everything began to connect. The things you once brushed off as mere coincidence, the chance encounters that now feel fated, the repeating numbers that flash before your eyes, the dreams that keep returning with the same urgent message, all of them are beginning to weave a story about you, about a grand mission you designed for yourself before you were even born, a mission you temporarily forgot amidst the noise of the earthly plane. Have you noticed it lately? Time itself feels different, doesn't it? It feels like it's accelerating, pulling you forward with an intensity that leaves no room for hesitation. It's as if an unseen force has been fully activated, a cosmic hand at your back, pushing you forward, not to escape your past, but to return to your true self. You can call it destiny, you can call it fate, but what's really happening is a magnificent astrological phenomenon. Right now, your ruling planet, the fiery warrior Mars, is receiving a powerful, expansive blessing from Jupiter, the great planet of fortune and expansion. This is not just a minor transit, my friends. This is the universe handing you a celestial jetpack. All the actions you've taken, the courage you've shown, the times you stood up for what was right, even when you stood alone. All of that Martian energy is now being amplified 1,000-fold by Jupiter's grace. The seeds of courage you planted are now sprouting into forests of victory. Every moment you chose to forgive, even when no apology was offered. Every time you stayed true to your heart, even when it was breaking. All of it, dear Aries, has been recorded, not by flawed human memory, but by the infallible cosmic ledger. And now, that cosmic wheel begins to turn, not to test you, but to lift you. Gently, quietly, but unstoppably. You no longer have to chase opportunities. What is divinely meant for you is now chasing you. And you can feel it, can't you? You feel it in every subtle shift of time, in every fated meeting that leaves your soul buzzing, in words spoken by strangers that feel like they were written just for you. But more than anything, you feel it in the very beat of your own heart. Place your hand over your chest right now. Can you feel that? It's not just pumping blood. It's beating with the powerful, primal rhythm of a soul that has been fully reawakened. Your dreams are becoming more vivid. Your intuition is sharper than ever. And pain no longer holds the same power over you. Because you're finally starting to realize that what you once perceived as a barrier was actually a doorway, and you now hold the key. I want you to burn this truth into your soul. You haven't changed. You have remembered. You have remembered the divine, untamable force of nature that you truly are. And when you remember, the universe remembers with you. The earth remembers. And all the souls who vibrate at your same fiery frequency begin to find their way back to you, like eagles returning to their sacred mountain after a long and arduous journey. The prophet, the one who witnessed this entire cosmic activation, felt his intuition pull one final card, and from the ancient deck, an image seemed to ignite with a white-hot fire. A magnificent throne, forged not of gold, but of pure starlight, guarded by two celestial lions, the ultimate symbols of courage and divine authority. And etched upon it was your soul's true name, written not in earthly letters, but in celestial glyphs, bestowed only upon those who have successfully completed a monumental karmic cycle. He didn't dare speak another word. He only knew that from that moment on, something vast and unstoppable was moving in and around your life. Something that no rumor, no judgment, and no force on earth could ever hold back. Because you, my dear Aries, no longer need anyone's approval. The entire spirit realm has already given you a standing ovation. You used to send your prayers out into the silence, looking up at the night sky and wondering if anyone was listening. And now the answer is here. The answer is you. It is the new life you feel approaching, the new chapter you are writing for yourself. And the most beautiful part is this: you don't need to force it. All you have to do is keep walking forward with courage and trust, because every single path you now choose to walk has already been cleared by the tears you once believed were shed in vain. If you have ever, for even a moment, felt forgotten or left behind, declare this to the heavens: I no longer need to chase. What is meant for me is now finding its way to me. And you thought that was the most incredible part, Aries? Not yet. Because what comes next is the part no one ever expected. A warning, not from any human tongue. A summons from the very place your soul was born. You are about to hear a secret that even the prophet dared not repeat aloud. A secret meant only for the one who so bravely carries the flame, Aries. From the second the prophet witnessed that vision of your starlit throne, something in the very architecture of reality began to reconfigure around you. This was no longer just a spiritual awakening. It became a sacred activation. Your soul was officially called forth by the cosmos. And it all began with that one seemingly harmless act. Someone showed your photo. But to the spirit world, it was the starting pistol at the beginning of a cosmic race. The gate flew open, and you, my brave friend, had already charged through it. There were no bells, no choirs of angels. There was only a subtle, yet profound shift in vibration. Perhaps it manifested as strange nights where you dreamed of soaring through the stars, but woke up with tears streaming down your face, releasing lifetimes of pain. Perhaps it was in conversations where you suddenly felt like a foreigner, realizing you no longer spoke the same language as those around you. You once tried so hard, didn't you? You tried to be smaller, softer, less intense. You tried to be easier to understand, easier to love. You shrank your colossal dreams. You muted your razor-sharp intuition. You swallowed the fire in your throat. You worked tirelessly to fit into a world that was never designed to contain you. But here is the magnificent, liberating truth. Your soul did not incarnate on this planet to fit in. You came here to blaze a trail. You came to reawaken the divine fire in those who had forgotten they were ever born from a star. You came to awaken, not to appease. And you know this. You know this not because I am telling you, but because you have lived it every single day of your life. You've tried to hide your light, but it kept pouring out through the cracks of the armor you built around it. In many spiritual teachings, there is a moment of awakening from which there is no return. A point where pretending becomes physically painful, where you can no longer tolerate the things that once slowly, subtly dimmed your inner fire. You have crossed that threshold, Aries. And from this moment on, you are no longer the same person. Not out of arrogance, but because the very frequency of your soul has been upgraded. Your life story is no longer about who loves you or who leaves you. It's no longer about who believes in you, who understands you, or who chooses to stay by your side. Your story now asks one singular, powerful question. Do you have the courage to stand tall in the full glory of your own light, even if you have to stand alone? You used to think, if only I could be accepted. But the real cosmic lesson is this: you don't need to be accepted. You only need to accept the magnificent, untamable fire you carry without asking for a single soul's permission. You don't need to find a place to belong in someone else's world, because the universe is now co-creating a new reality with you, a sacred space, a kingdom of your own making, where no judgment or negativity can touch you anymore, a reality where only souls who have journeyed far enough and have been brave enough to face their own fire are invited to enter. Remember, my dear Aries, there was a time they passed around your photograph as if you were just an object, as if your worth was up for debate. But that very act forced the heavens to intervene, to sweep away everything and everyone that was not in alignment with your highest destiny, and to begin the grand process of returning to you everything that was ever taken. And you don't have to fight for it, because your light, your soul, always knows the way home. All you need to do is stand still in the power of your own self-acceptance. No blame, no justification, just receive. Do you feel it? That you are no longer the same person who woke up yesterday? There are hobbies you once enjoyed that now feel empty. Places that once brought you comfort that now feel like cages. Relationships that once felt essential now leave you feeling drained and silent. This isn't because you've grown cold or hard. It's because your frequency has changed. And in this new, higher vibration, only what is truly worthy of your energy can enter your reality. So, ask yourself this, Aries, with this newly unleashed fire within you, what will you create? What worlds will you build? What injustices will you challenge? You don't need the answer right now. Just let that question echo through the chambers of your heart, like the powerful toll of a sacred bell in a temple dedicated to your own spirit. If you feel that you no longer belong to your old world, declare it now. I have stepped into my power, and I no longer ask for permission to be magnificent, because the path you are about to walk is no longer an ordinary life. It is a divinely destined mission, a chapter where you no longer have to prove a thing. You only need to be. And in our final part, we will step into that most sacred space, the place where your soul is being called back to its rightful throne. You will finally understand that all the chaos, all the struggle, was never meant to break you. It was summoning you back to the temple of your own soul, where your fire no longer has to be contained. My dear Aries, they never knew, did they? They never knew that their small, thoughtless action would be the very thing that awakened the cosmic warrior within you. This story was never truly about the prophet or the photograph. It was always about a sacred ritual being stirred awake, an ancient, primal fire being rekindled in a temple that no one had dared to enter for ages. It was a calling, meant only for you to come home to the magnificent, blinding light you once tried to dim, thinking the world might love you more if you were less brilliantly you. But from this moment on, that is over. No more explaining yourself, no more shrinking your dreams to fit into someone else's small reality. No more sitting on the sidelines of your own epic life. You, my beautiful fiery Aries, are no longer the one who suffers in silence. You are the one who activates destiny. You are the one seen, honored, and respected by sacred eyes. And from this moment forward, nothing can ever return to the way it was. They once trembled at the mere reflection of your light in a photograph. So imagine, just imagine, what will happen when you, yourself, finally dare to look your own power straight in the eye and walk directly into its glorious, all-consuming flame. Take one final, deep breath with me. And if you are ready, make this your energetic declaration to the universe, to your guides, and to your own magnificent soul. Write it down, say it aloud, feel it in every cell of your being. I am ready to live with the divine fire my soul was born with. Thank you. Thank you for walking with me on this sacred journey, for staying until the very end. I know it's not always easy to sit with a message this intense. Unless your heart has been forged in fire before, unless you've prayed in the lonely darkness, unless you've wandered through the wilderness trying to find your way back to your own power. And so, I offer you my deepest, most heartfelt blessing. May you always be wrapped in the protective flames of the light you carry. May you be loved for your intensity, not in spite of it. And may you build a life so magnificent, so true, and so unapologetically you that you never again feel the need to ask for anyone's permission to be who you were always destined to be. I am so incredibly excited to witness the worlds you are about to create. I would love to hear from you. What part of this message ignited your soul the most? What truth did you recognize within yourself today? Share your thoughts, your journey, and your declarations in the comments section below. By sharing our stories, we empower one another and we create a beautiful community of activated souls. You can click on one of the videos you see on your screen now to continue your journey of cosmic discovery. Remember, my beautiful Aries, you are the creator of your reality. You are the pioneer. And you are capable of achieving every single one of your wildest, most magnificent dreams. Thank you for being here today. I'll see you again in the next cosmic transmission.